if you have the Siddur, and since we're using the Siddur, you're going to see that a number of times. Although a purist will insist that there is a difference in pronunciation of the letters het and chav, I have chosen to treat them the same in the transliteration of any Hebrew words containing them by the use of the lowercase or uppercase h with the dot underneath, meaning the h with a little dot and the h in words such as minha, Hanukkah, Hatan, Pesach, Beracha, and Melech. For the most part, I've also seen that many of the Jews in the Balkans don't make a distinction between these two letters. Although we know pretty much that the het is supposed to be a guttural letter. The sound is a guttural sound. So it's somewhere from the throat, het, ha, 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 right? And the chav is in the front, che, cha, 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 right? And so, but okay, again, you know, it seems like the influence of the Turkish language, because of the influence on the Turkish language, we probably were not able to reproduce those sounds in the Ottoman Empire. Although, right, so okay, and then it talks about the Kaddish, and these are the vowels. Practically, there are 5 different vowel sounds in the Hebrew, the same as in English, a, e, I, o, u. However, in Hebrew, they are pronounced like a, e, I, o, u. And by us, by the Balkan Jews, we don't, you know, if you go to the Syrian Sephardim, or you go to the Iraqis, or you go even to the Persians, they do have a distinctive sound for the, you know, the Tenuot Gedolot, what we call Tenuot Gedolot, or the Tenuot Ketanot. And there are sounds that you can recognize. For instance, they will say the kamats, the word, the kamets, it's kamutz. It's like an a that's contracted. So instead of saying ah, they will say ah, and you can hear it. And the ah that's called the patah, it's more open. It's patah, patua. So it's ah. So ah, eh. So you would hear them say sedake, sedake, right? You can hear the eh, the ah is a little bit contracted, right? And so you'll hear those sounds. By us, by the Balkan Jews, pretty much the sounds are, it's the same. A, E, O, U, A, E, O, U, okay? Now, if you want to make a note of this or take a picture of that, because next week, what I want to do, I want to show you how it works in the next, we'll read this whole thing the next week to see how the Sheva Na and the Sheva Naha, they work, okay? I'm sorry, not on this chart, it's the next chart that he has, okay? So we can read through it, and then we'll get a lot of it, you know, to make sense to us, okay? How we, the Sephardim, all the Sephardim do the same thing. This is pretty much how we follow the sounds and how we read, okay? And a lot of Siddurim, like his Siddur, or even in later, all these books that today, you know, the Torah books that we use to prepare our readings and so on and so forth, they've done the same thing that he talks about here. You know, they've done the kamets, they made it larger, the sheva that makes a sound, they made it larger so that the reader is able to pick it up, okay? All right, so we'll go now to some selichot. I know that we started last week, actually 2 weeks ago, we had started some of the selichot, but specifically the Ashrei. So I want to start with the Ashrei and then take us to the actual piyut. Can everybody see this? Yeah, Ashrei? Yeah, can we see it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is, we call it the Ashrei, even though, because these are the verses that open it up usually in the prayer every day, the prayer that we say every day in the morning. We say it twice, and then we say it once in the evening. But really, these 2 verses don't belong here. This is Psalm 145, and it begins by Te'ilah le David. And it's one of those psalms which is organized in an alphabetical manner. right? There's been a lot of studies done about that and some tremendous, tremendous finds that maybe one of these days we'll quickly uh, talk about those things. But tremendous, tremendous things that, we can't believe that certain things are in the words, in between the words. And it's almost like, like a book within a book. That's a lot of the Torah we're finding it out to be this way. So anyway, so this is in alphabetical order, except that it's missing just it's missing the noon right here, right? And the rabbis make a big deal about that. But the whole Mizmor is just a beautiful Mizmor, praising God, sort of waking up to all these praises. What is God? What does He do? How does He take care of the entire world, and that we're in His mind constantly, so on and so forth, and you know, and the praises that we need to give Him, so on and so forth. Okay, so now this is the tune that we use. This is pretty much the tune that's used in Istanbul, all right, for the beginning of the Teila le David, or the Ashrei as we call it. One more verse was added, the has the Ha. And originally, the Selichot, as far as we know, this Selichot, including this Mizmor, it's probably over 1,000 years old that is used like this. The Selichot went from being prayers that were recited during Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days of Teshuvah, and eventually, and somehow it really caught on in the communities, the Sephardic communities, that we ended up doing 40 days of Selichot. This was not the original practice. The original practice was only Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days of Teshuvah. Of course, Selichot would be a lot shorter, but people had more time, so they probably read it a lot slower than what we did. When I was a little kid, Selichot took about an hour and a half, really. They read it very slow, chanting a lot of the pieces. And here's a piece that it's not so difficult, but you're going to hear it, and there is a slow chanting to it. So here it goes. Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach. Okay, I'm going to go back to it. Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach. Again. Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach. Very simple, the tune, right? I think we had done a little bit of this 2 weeks ago. Again. Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach. One last time. Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time and see who wants to do it. Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach. Who wants to try it?
I'll try.
Okay, go ahead.
Yehi hazdecha Adonai alenu, kasher yihalnu lach.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So here we go again. See what he did here? That this is, you see how this Sheva is bigger than the first one. That's because this one is pronounced. That's the way he makes his Machzorim also, so that when you see it, you know that that's supposed to be pronounced. Okay? So I'm going to the next verse. Ashrei Yoshevet, pronounced. Ashrei Yoshevet v'techa od yehallelu chasela. Again. Ashrei Yoshevet v'techa od yehallelu chasela. Again. Ashrei Yoshevet v'techa od yehallelu chasela. One last time. Ashrei Yoshevet v'techa Odie hallelujah Selah. Who wants to try? Ashre?
Well, no one's volunteering, so I'll do it.
Okay.
אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יהללוך סלה.
Beauty. Simple the tune, right? And that's going to be pretty much our, in a couple of places, slight changes, okay? But very, very little changes. So here we go. Yehi hazeka Adonai aleinu, kasher yihanu lach, ashrei yosheve betecha, od yehalelu chasela. I'm going to do the next one. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. Again. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. One more time. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. Last time. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. Who wants to try it? If you want to try? Yosef, you want to try? Unmute.
There we go. Okay. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav.
The tune is really simple. Okay, I'm going back to the beginning. Yehi hazeka Adonai aleinu, kasher yihanu lach, ashrei yosheve betecha, od yehalelu chasela, ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. I'll give you a little bit of an interesting note, and I don't know these things, but I know some of these things. So the makam that this is using, it's makam seba. Makam seba in the Turkish Ottoman, not Jewish tradition, every makam has a certain feeling that it's supposed to emit, it's supposed to give off. And of course, you know, you can believe that or you cannot believe that. And some of the Turks believed that they were, you know, connected to the zodiac and to whatever, right? Other beliefs of the kind. But in the Ottoman, amongst the Ottomans, they sensed that this makam is supposed to emit sadness. So very interesting. The same tune is used in the Mizmor, the opening Mizmor, as we walk behind the funeral procession. Yoshe Beseter Elyon. It's the same chanting. Yoshe Beseter Elyon Besel Shaddai Itlonan. Omar l'Adonai mahzium sudati, Elohai yeftachon. Same. So, you know, I do wonder what the connection is. And this is, I think, this the part that I know, I told you that I know a little bit, I know. But now this part is where, you know, I wonder how this tune, right, gets into the beginning of the Selichot. Are we supposed to, you know, change the mindset here? Because that mindset it's so interesting how sophisticated this is, because as the prayer is going on and you know, and you're part of this culture, imagine 150 years ago, 200 years ago, you're part of the culture, you understand Makam, which a lot of the people understood Makam because those were the sounds that they grew up with and they were able to understand and relate to them. So a lot of these people, in fact, I've heard a number of stories where the Hazan sings a certain makam and people, begin to ask him to change to a different makam because different emotion that's happening in the synagogue, or that the people that are sitting there are recognizing the makam that is using and they're talking to each other and then is he using Segiach or is using Yegiach or is using Nihavent or whatever the Hazan was using at the moment. And many of the Yehidim, many of the people that are sitting in the Kal, in the synagogue are relating and they know what the makam is that's being used and they know the emotion that is supposed to be, that's being communicated. Strangely enough, I'll tell you the last thing about this makam Saba, which, there's gotta be so much more, right? It's knowledge. It's the makam of Purim amongst the Turks and the Turkish community. This is, every Shabbat has a makam. And the makam that's used in Purim, the Shabbat before Purim, is makam Saba. So I think that that's part of a comedy thinking, right? You want to do something that's really contrary to the emotions of the day. So we're supposed to be very happy. So we throw you in a makam Saba. Don't know. All right. So that's just something that we picked up along the way. All right. So here we go back again to Yehi Hazecha and then Teila LeDavid. Yehi Hazecha Adonai Aleinu Kasher Yihalnu Lach Ashrei Yoshev Betecha Od Yihalelu Hasela Ashrei ha'am shekahalo, Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. And here comes a slight change just to introduce the Teila LeDavid. Teila LeDavid, right? We went up and we elongated it. Teila LeDavid, Arom mimcha Elohai HaMelech, Vavarecha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Here we go again. Tehila LeDavid, Arom Mimcha Elohai Amelech, Vavarecha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Again. Tehila LeDavid, Arom Mimcha Elohai Amelech, Vavarecha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. One last time. Tehila LeDavid, Arom Mimcha Elohai Amelech, Vavarecha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Daf, you want to try Tehila LeDavid?
Yeah, sure. Tehila LeDavid, Aromemcha Elohai HaMelech, Vavarecha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
Fantastic. So let's go back to the beginning. Ready? Yehi Hazecha Adonai Aleinu, Kasher Yihalnu Lach, Ashrei Yoshev Betecha, Od Yehalelu Hasela, Ashrei Ha'am Shekahalo, Ashrei Ha'am she'Adonai Elohav. Tehila LeDavid, Arom Mimcha Elohai Amelech, Vavarecha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Next pasuk. Bechol Yom Avarechecha, Va'alela Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Again. Bechol Yom Avarechecha, Va'alela Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Again. Bechol Yom Avarechecha, Va'alela Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. One last time. Bechol Yom Avarechecha, you see Avarechecha, Vahalela Shimcha Leolam Vaed. Who else wants to try? Anybody else? Yaakov, is you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
From where do you want me to go?
Bechol Yom.
B'chol yom avarechecha, v'halala shimcha leolam va'ed.
Beauty. I mean, we really picked it up. So here we go again.
Can
This
I
is just
ask
yes,
a question first?
yes, please.
For
Yes.
avarechecha, is it avarechecha or avarecheka? Because I've never seen that.
Avarecheka. It has the
I've
dat
never
at
seen
the
that
end.
too.
Yeah. So, because of the grammar, the way the grammar comes out over here, which is a little bit complicated, so it becomes a ka, correct? Just like any, like kaha, right? Like the
Yeah.
situation here. So over here you have the dagesh and the dat, the dagesh, and the dagesh makes it ka.
I've just never seen it with a safit and a ka.
Oh, great, good. Because yeah, it's not that often that you have that. I don't think you have that again in the Mizmor. Yeah, but it's cut. All right. So I'll take you back to the beginning. I'm just taking it back so that we get. Actually, I'll start from Teila le David. All right. So we don't take that much time. Here we go. Teila le David, arom mimcha Elohai hamelech. Vavareka shimcha leolam vaed, bechol yom avarecheka, vahalela shimcha leolam vaed. Here we go to the next one. Gadol Adonai umhulal meod, veligdulato en heker. See, the Sheva at the beginning, under the first consonant, always is what we call na. Na means that it makes a sound, right? Na from the, that means it's making a sound, right? So this bechol yom, right? So every case where you're going to have the Sheva at the beginning of a word, le'olam, right? You always, according to the grammar that we use, you're always going to have the Sheva na, which means it makes a sound. Yeah, he, right? In the case right here, whenever it's behind the shuruk, then the u, which is the vav, it becomes nah. Nah means naha, it's resting. Doesn't make a sound. So over here is umhulal, all right? And you have meod, veligdulato, right? So that's, it's just that you see how the grammar is working. We're gonna see it next week a little bit more, but that you're getting used to it, okay? Gadol Adonai umhulal meod, veligdulato en heker. Again. Gadol Adonai umhulal meod, veligdulato en heker. Again. Gadol Adonai umhulal meod, veligdulato en heker. Last time. Gadol Adonai umhulal meod, veligdulato en heker. Gloria, can you read for us from Teila le David? Teila le David. You're mute. Gloria, can you hear us? Can you read for us?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teila.
Teila le David, arom chalo hamelech, va'avarecha shimcha leolam va'ed, b'chol yom averecha, avarechem, avarecha, I got mixed up. B'chol yom avarecha, va'halela shimcha leolam va'ed. Gadol Adonai u'melula מאוד, וגאולתו אין הכר,
Yeah,
דור לדור ראשון.
some of these words are a little bit tough. Okay, no question. Okay, here we go. Dor le dor yeshabach ye, right? Yeshabach maasecha ugvurotecha yagidu. Again. Dor le dor yeshabach maasecha ugvurotecha yagidu. Again. Dor le dor yeshabach maasecha ugvurotecha yagidu. Last time. Dor le dor yeshabach maasecha ugvurotecha yagidu. Yosef, you want to try?
Yes. Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha u'girotecha yagidu.
Fantastic. We're going on. Ready?
You might have already answered this question. I had to step away for a minute, but is this tune used exclusively for the Ashrei of Telichot, or is it used at other times as well? Because it
So-
sounds pretty familiar or similar to another place in Tefillah, but I can't put my finger on it.
Another place in Tefillah. No, I don't think that we use it again. This is the only time that we use this tune. But I did say earlier that, you know, when we walk, interestingly enough, when we walk behind the funeral procession and we say Yoshe Beseter, that's when we say it. And the same tune, we use exactly Yoshe Beseter Elyon, but we sing it to this tune. All right, and over there it makes a lot of sense. It's what we said before, Makam Saba. Makam Saba is a sad makam according to the Ottoman tradition, not Jewish tradition, according to the Ottoman tradition. And so the Jews are using that tradition and transmitting those emotions too. And so the people understand that it's there's some sadness that we're transmitting, right, when we sing in this style. And my question is, why are we doing it at the beginning of Selichot? I'm not sure. I am not sure why is that being done. And the fact that it takes us back to maybe a levaya, because this is all strictly Istanbul, both. Yoshe Beseter Elyon, the way the levaya that I mentioned to you, the way it's done, the funeral procession, it's Turkish, and this is also Istanbul, I'm saying. Istanbul, both these are Istanbul, so I'm not sure what they do in other communities in regard to this. I have to look it up.
Well, can I say?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking of what you said about why use this makan for Selichot. Well, Selichot, the starting point at least is sad in the sense is serious, owning up to the fact that you have to pray, that you're in such a condition that you need to pray and to change.
So it's almost like we come in with broken hearts almost.
Yeah, I think you know what's wrong with you and with the world, and this is the starting point.
Right.
You know, as you go on with the Yamim Noraim, hope you get to a point where you're going to be very happy, you know, but this isn't it.
Right, which is very, I mean, could be, right? So we start with something sad at the opening, and then as we go, it changes. Could be. Some of the tunes are rather happy in the middle of the Selichot, so, but okay, all right. So here we go. Vezus noreotecha yomeru ugdulatecha saperena. Again. Vezus noreotecha yomeru ugdulatecha saperena. Again. Vezus noreotecha yomeru ugdulatecha asaperena. One last time. Vezus noreotecha yomeru ugdulatecha asaperena. Daf, you want to do this verse?
Is it common to put in that yo sound by the o, like no yotecha?
Yeah, noreotecha, right.
No yot.
Right, because this is a Sheva now. It's after, right?
Right.
Yeah. Daph, can you do it for us?
Yeah, sure. ועזוז נוראותיך יאמרו וגדולתך ספרנה.
Okay, very, very good. Very good. Okay, so let's go on. We're going to come, it's going to take us a little bit of a while this, because pretty much right now it's going to be the same. So I'm going to do 2 verses at a time. So we move a little bit faster, okay? זכרה וטובך יביעו וצדקתך ירננו. הנון ורחום אדוני ערך אפיים וגדול חסד. Again. זכרה וטובך יביעו וצדקתך ירננו. הנון ורחום אדוני ערך אפיים וגדול חסד. Again. זכרה וטובך יביעו וצדקתך ירננו. הנון ורחום אדוני ערך אפיים וגדול חסד. Last time. זכרה וטובך יביעו וצדקתך ירננו. הנון ורחום אדוני ערך אפיים וגדול חסד. Anybody else wants to try? I know I see a lot of faces that I don't see their faces, but I don't know if they want it. So let us know if you want to try. Who's there? Who else is there?
I do.
Who's that? Who's that?
Naomi.
Okay, Naomi, you want to try? Please. Zechera.
Yeah. זכר טובך יביעו וצדקתך ירננו. חנון ורחום אדוני ערך אפיים וגדול חסד.
Excellent. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. Excellent. Really, really good. Okay. So let's go to the next 2 pesukim, next 2 verses. Ready? Tov Adonai lakol verahamav al kol ma'asav. You see, I see a lot of you already figured it out, how we play, because it's the first, we start by the comma, right? And then we end, even though we have a lot of words here, we squeeze it in, right? So, Tov Adonai lakol, right? Just like over here, it's a little bit it's four words. Zecherav tuvecha yabiu, right? And over here, verahamav al kol ma'asav. So you just hold on to the tune a little bit and you stretch the tune into all the 4 words, all right? So here we go again. Tov Adonai lakol verahamav al kol ma'asav. Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'hasidecha yevarechucha. So here we pronounce the Sheva again. Tov Adonai lakol verahamav al kol ma'asav. Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'hasidecha yevarechucha. Last time. Tov Adonai lakol verahamav al kol ma'asav. Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'hasidecha yevarechucha. Who wants to try, Yaakov?
Okay. Tov Adonai lakol rachamav al kol ma'asav. Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'chasidecha yevarechucha.
Fantastic, fantastic. Going on, right? Next to Pesukim. And these are a little bit longer, the Pesukim. So, but nothing changes. We just stretch the tune into the words. Kevod malchutecha yomeru. So it says malchutecha. Kevod malchutecha yomeru ug. Guratecha yedaberu. Right? Kevod malchutecha yomeru. And here's a little stretch like we did by Teira David. The Hazanim, it's very interesting. Usually, by the time we get to the fourth, the fifth verse, the Hazan is the one that started, but by this time there's a humming in the synagogue that everybody sort of in a low tone is following the Hazan. It sounds very, very pretty. Right? So there's a humming. The Hazan is carrying, and all of our voices are accompanying him in a low tone, right? Because he continues to lead us. So here's Lehodia. Lehodia, the Hazanim stretch it over here. Lehodia livne Adam gevurotav uchvod hadar malchuto. So I'm going to repeat this a few times. Lehodia livne Adam gevurotav. And we came back. Uchvod hadar malchuto. Lehodia is almost like the Hazan wants to stress the point that God is letting us know his strength, right? And his power, his honor, his beauty, the beauty of his kingdom. What that means, we're looking at nature. We call it nature, but nature means God, right? Who created the order of things, right? It just doesn't happen by itself, right? So here it goes again. Lehodia livne Adam gevurotav uchvod hadar malchuto. 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 Last time. Lehodia livne Adam gevurotav uchvod hadar malchuto. Who wants to try this little passage?
I'll try.
Okay, go ahead.
Lehodia livnei Adam gevurotav uchvod hadar malchuto.
Fantastic. Very, very good. So here, I'm going to go
So
back.
beautiful. That's such a beautiful touch after all the other ones. That's so beautiful.
Right. And I got to tell you, when you're sitting in Bet Knesset in the Kal, right, and you're hearing the Hazan starts, and then the humming, and then the Hazan stretches these pieces, because pretty much the Hazan stretches this piece, right? So it's like a wake up, it's like all of a sudden you're humming and there is like, let me tell you, let me remind you, right? So it's very pretty. There is a conversation going on and between the congregation, the Hazan, and are speaking to God, right? So there is that conversation is happening. If when you look at the translation, when you understand the Hebrew, the conversation is absolutely happening, right? So I'm going to go back.
It's almost like he's making an announcement, Lehodia.
Yeah.
An announcement you make out loud.
Hazaku Baruch. That's what he's trying to do. I think that ends up being, the work, the job of the Hazan, right, is to really instruct us into the prayer, to guide us into this conversation that we're having with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So the good Hazanim know that. And that's why you see you see those points, right, that's happening in the places where it's happening. That's why the Hachamim originally choose certain Mizmorim certain psalms above others, right? Other times, maybe we should have just translate it as we go, but we can do that right now, right? As we're going over here, you hear the conversation. There's an elevation of understanding our situation, right? In front of God, right? So, Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'hasidecha yevarechucha. I'm sorry, so take it. Hanum v'rachum Adonai, erech hapayim l'chased. It's almost like it repeats it in different words. God is merciful, kind, right? He's slow to anger and full of kindness, right? Tov Adonai lakol, God is good to all. Verahamav al kol ma'asav, and his mercifulness is over all of his creations, right? So, see, this is typical in Tehillim, right? That the first part of the verse, the second part of the verse almost like explains the first part of the verse, right? So, Tov Adonai lakol, God is good to all, and is merciful to all of his creations, right? So he's good and he's merciful. To whom? To all the creations, right? Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'hasidecha yevarechucha, right? So all of your creations, they're thankful to you, right? V'hasidecha yevarechucha, and those that are pious, although the word pious over here is not a precise translation, they bless you, right? Because they bless you, right? They turn and they make blessings to you because we see the wonders, and we can't understand it, right? It's like over here the author of the Mizmor is contemplating nature and he's looking out and he says, how does it happen? How is it that we're standing here? You put everything in front of us. You're good, you're kind, right? So, of course, the idea is, right, we're studying a major prayer, right? We want to set the tone. We want to let the readers, the people in synagogue, start thinking about this, right? So it's really thought-provoking, right? So, להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו, this is all to make known to people, to men, your strength. וכבוד הדר מלכותו, and the beauty and the honor of your kingdom. Your kingdom, like we said before, it's everything that's out there, right? The universe. Malchutecha, malchut kol olamim. Your kingdom is the kingdom over everything, over all of the worlds, right? Umemshaltecha v'chol vador, and your government is for generation after generation, right? So this is what we're saying, right? So here it goes. So I'm going to go back to Tov so that we go into Lehodia, okay? Tov Adonai lakol verahamav al kol ma'asav yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'hasidecha yevarechucha kevod malchutecha yomeru uguratecha yedaberu להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו וכבוד הדר מלכותו. And here we go back. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים. Right, we needed to fit everything in there. וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים. נופלים, right? We pronounce here because follows the whole end, right? סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וסוקף לכל הכפופים. Again, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים. Last time. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים. Who wants to try מלכותך? Is Isaac around? I see Isaac around. I don't know if he's with us. Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm semi-present. Which verse? Could you-
So it's מלכותך.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
Excellent, excellent.
I wasn't
All right.
quite sure which syllable to go up on.
Yeah, we caught you off guard a little bit. All right, here we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna, because poteh et yadecha, we're gonna stress again. But really, the Hazanim stress it out a lot more than Lehodia, okay? And of course, it's the reason because that's where the Parnassah is, okay? And some people think, well, Parnassah, why are we so crazy about Parnassah? Because if you're a little bit understand how the world runs with Parnassah, right? If you understand the economy, you lead the world. If you don't understand that, then you're way behind, okay? And this is, they criticize the Jews for being wealthy. When people understand the economy, people that understand the economy, they understand where they stand. They lead the world. And because we all follow Parnassah, we all need it, right? And the world goes around, and this is against a lot of the things that we're hearing today, but this is why this country is so blessed, because this country has understood that for a long, long time, right? And so people can make their Parnassah here, and this is our prayer, that everybody is able to make good Parnassah. Here we go. עיניך אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. Again, so I'm going to leave poteah because it's going to be a little bit longer, okay? So here we go. עיניך אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. Again. עיניך אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. Again. עיניך אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. Last time. עיניך אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. Who wants to try it? Just Ene, and then we'll take you to Poteah, because that's going to be a little bit longer. Who wants to try Ene? Anybody?
Well, nobody wants.
Nobody wants it. Okay. All right. So let's go into Poteah, okay? Because we got
Oh,
it. Gloria, you want to do Ene?
yeah.
Go.
עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו.
Okay, great. So now listen good to this.
My phone is doing it.
Yeah, somebody who sent me that. I hope they got the call. Okay. Right. So here we go. So Hazanim usually stress this out a lot more because, God opens up his hands, right? Then there's always enough for everybody. This is an amazing, amazing concept, okay? God opens up ke'ilu, as if God opens up his hands, right? Poteach et yadecha, you open up your hands. Umasbia lechol hayrason, and the entire earth feeds, right? Masbia, but it's the entire earth is satiated, right? And it's a concept that, of that it's abundant, and it's a very important mindset, right? That there's abundance in the air, in the earth. There's always enough for everybody. All right. So here we go. Poteach et yadecha umasbia lechol hayrason. Right. And the masbia, we're coming back down to the tune that we've been using. Okay. So the poteach et yadecha is where we really elongate. Poteach et yadecha umasbia לכל חי רצון. Again. פותח את ידיך ומשביע 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 לכל חי רצון. Last time. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. Somebody wants to try? פותח את ידיך? Anybody פותח את ידיך?
Sure, I'll try.
Okay, go ahead.
פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, and then the rest of the Mizmor is going to be pretty much the same. Okay, I'm going to go on so that I don't let you out too late because it's already past 7. So here it goes. Tzadik Adonai v'chol derachav v'hasid v'chol ma'asav karov Adonai lechol koreav lechol asher yikra'uhu be'emet. Again. Tzadik Adonai b'chol derachav v'hasid v'chol ma'asav karov Adonai lechol koreav lechol asher yikra'uhu be'emet. Again. Tzadik Adonai b'chol derachav v'hasid v'chol ma'asav karov Adonai lechol koreav lechol asher yikra'uhu be'emet. Daf, you want to do this too?
Sure.
Tzadik.
Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav v'chasid bechol ma'asav karov Adonai lechol koreav lechol asher yikra'uhu be'emet.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll take it to the end now. This way I can, and then we'll just review it a little bit next week, okay? Rezon yereav yase, because it got to us, okay? Rezon yereav yase, ve'et shav'atam yishma ve'yoshiem, shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol hareshaim yashmid. Again. Rezon yereav yase, ve'et shav'atam yishma ve'yoshiem, shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol hareshaim yashmid. Last time. Rezon yereav yase, ve'et shav'atam yishma ve'yoshiem, shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol hareshaim yashmid. Who wants to try these two verses? Who was it, Naomi, before?
Nobody wants them.
Okay, go ahead.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ויש שבתם ישמע ויושיעם, שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
Excellent, excellent. So here we go to the end, all right? Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi. And here we have a long one. Vivarech kol basar shem kocho leolam vaed. You see how we elongated the tune, right? We just went with the tune and we just made it, we stretched it. Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi. Vivarech kol basar shem kocho leolam vaed. Vanahnu nevarech ya. Me'ata ve'ad olam, hallelujah. Right, so here we go again. Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi, vivarech kol basar shem kocho leolam va'ed, v'anachnu nevarech yah me'ata ve'ad olam, hallelujah. Last time. Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi, vivarech kol basar shem kocho leolam va'ed, v'anachnu nevarech yah me'ata ve'ad olam, hallelujah. Yaakov, you want to try the last two pesukim?
Okay. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
Beauty, beauty. Okay, so we're done with the Mizmor. God willing, I think we'll start with we'll do Ben Adam the next week, because these are the tunes that are very, very popular and very well known all over the Sephardic world. So I want to give you at least that. All right. So we'll right here. We'll take off next week. We'll read a little bit of the Dikduk again, a little bit of the grammar, so we get a little bit ahead of the grammar, and we'll keep on doing this so that you get an idea of how we're not writing, but we want to understand how the grammar works, so that whenever we read in Hebrew, we know when to pronounce certain vowels and certain vowels that are not pronounced, when the O, when the As come, etc., etc. All right? Okay, we're good? Everybody
We're good.
Okay, so Hazakim Uveruchim, as we would say, very, very well. We did the entire Tehillah de David, right? Or the Ashrei as we know it, right? And okay, we completed it. Very exciting. Very exciting. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Muchas gracias.
If you go to the website to Zemirot, you're going to hear it there. It's already, the recording is there, so you can review it. It's probably, I think it's my teachings that's there. It's a recording that's maybe 50 years old. So, all right, great. Okay, so we'll see you next week, inshallah. All right? Okay, be good, be good.
Vamos.